Hey guys, and welcome back to HR Talks with Lish. I hope you're all doing well. It's been a while since I've done a video like this, but really good to be back and I'm ready to get into this video. So this video is all about building your confidence for when you go to that HR interview. Now, you may be somebody who's never been to a HR interview before in your life and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to act. I don't know how to be. This is my first interview. What do I do and how do I show I'm confident? Well, you've landed on the right video if that's what you've come here for. If you're somebody who has been working in a different industry and you're transitioning into HR, so you've never been in a HR type of interview before and you think, oh, I'm not sure if I'm going to be confident enough, this video is also for you. I'm going to drop some tips and advice to help you feel confident before going to your HR interview. Now, I have made a reel, a short, and a TikTok on this. So if you haven't seen that, please check that out just for the 3 simple ways that I think you can build your confidence. But in this video, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail as to why I think that these 3 to 4 tips that I'm going to show you and tell you are very important for building your confidence before going to your HR interview. So let's get into it. So the first tip that I've got for you is imagine yourself already succeeding. Now, if you are going into an interview and you don't think you're going to get it, the job after you've gone for this interview, then you're probably not going to get the job. Now, I think the way you feel about certain things and the energy you have towards something really does help to create a shift, even if you are struggling in an interview. I think you need to imagine yourself already succeeding. You need to have thought out in your head, you know what, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to give it all I've got, and I believe that I can get this job. Because when you have that spirit within you, and you've got that inside of you, that kind of makes the process a little bit easier, because you will feel confident automatically, because you're saying to your brain, you're telling your body, look, we're going into this interview and we're going to succeed. Before I went to my HR internship interview, I actually wrote out what my first day was going to be like. I haven't even gone to the interview yet. I've just remembered this point. I haven't gone to the interview yet. I've already written down what my first day is going to be like. Do you know why I did that? Because I already imagined myself getting that job. For the other internship that I applied for, and I also got offered that, but I declined for the paid one that I had. For that one, I made a folder for all of my resources and materials when I was practicing for this interview. And I said, I am going to get this job. And I got that job. Now, I know it's not as simple as just saying, oh, I'm going to get this job and I'm going to get it. Because no, it doesn't work like that. You've got to put in the work, but you've got to have the passion. You've got to have a feeling inside of you like, yes, you know what, I can do this. Because that just helps you when it comes to preparing for everything. Because I understand we need to be preparing in the right way for this. You can't just go in and not know anything. Even if you say, oh yeah, I'm going to get this job, and you've not prepared anything, that's not going to work. What I'm trying to say is, have the passion, have that desire, know in your mind, you know what, I can do this if you've done the preparation, and it will help you to feel confident in the interview. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, make sure you rehearse your answers before going into the interview. Now, I think that it's important that, yes, you know what kind of questions you need to ask, and yes, you know what kind of questions you need to prepare for beforehand, but rehearsing them again and again and again, so actually writing out those answers, is going to help you to go into the interview and feel confident when they ask you that question that you feel is going to come up in the interview. Because you've already rehearsed it so many times, it's going to feel natural when you say it. I think sometimes a lot of people lack confidence because they just haven't prepared. That's the plain and simple kind of message for it. You haven't prepared. So you've gone in there and you're a bit nervous because you just don't really know what to say. But if you've actually planned out and structured what you're going to say, let me just say this. I know that sometimes interviews you go in and it's completely the opposite of what you've prepared for. I've had these situations, but at least because you've prepared so much for what could possibly come up, if they ask you a question that you're a bit unsure of, at least you know you can, think about ways to answer that based on what you've prepared for. So something that I've been saying to some of my subscribers and followers on different platforms who've reached out to me is create an experience bank. Because if you've been to uni, let's say you've got no HR experience at all, that's not a problem, right? If you've been to uni, if you've had experience in customer service, you've got experience that can be transferred into HR. So create an experience bank of the different times where you've shown teamwork, the times where you've communicated with somebody, where there's maybe been a conflict and you've been able to resolve it. Write these things down, because when it does come to then interviewing, you already know what you're going to say, because you know what your experience is like. I think it's good to refer to your experience as a story. Your experiences in these different roles, it's like you're telling a story, and that is so important when you're going into an interview as well, storytelling. So I would say follow that STAR technique. I've got a few videos based on how to prepare your answers using the STAR technique, so please check those out. Follow a structure, tell it like a story. Make sure you're creating a connection between you and the interviewer when you're preparing these answers and rehearsing them, because then when you go into the interview, you'll feel fine. You'll actually feel okay if you've got that feeling of, you know what, I've prepared for this, I can do this. I think that helps with confidence. Don't get me wrong, even if you've prepared, you can still get butterflies in your belly. You can still feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to do this. I'm not saying that you're not going to feel that, but I'm just saying preparation allows you to feel a little bit more confident. So it adds to it in some way. So that's my next point. Point number 3, if you're in the interview and they ask you a question and you don't know the answer, say to the interviewer, can I please have a moment to think? Now, I think some people believe that if they don't answer the question straight away, then it's a red flag. The interviewer is going to be like, oh, they don't know how to answer the question. Well, forget that person, on to the next. People feel like they're not even going to be considered again if they don't answer the question straight away. But that's not the case. Think about it. If you answer a question straight away and you don't know how to answer it, you're probably going to come up with an answer that doesn't make any sense. So if that answer doesn't make any sense, then that's more likely the reason why they're not going to go for you, because they're thinking, oh, they're just making this up on the spot. If you actually take a moment to think, because probably you know what to say, but the nerves have kicked in and you just don't know what to say at the moment, take a minute to just say, let me just have a moment, and then be like, okay, I can actually answer that now. And then come out with your answer. I'm telling you, it's probably going to be so much more clearer than if you just said it straight away. So take that moment. I've done this like numerous amount of times in interviews. I've said, look, can I please just have a moment to just think about that? And they've said, yeah, no problem. And it's not shaken how they felt about me. I think it's probably because on previous questions that I've prepared for already, or the way that I've been communicating in the interview, it's shown that I've got that desire, I've got that will, I want to learn, I've got this experience. So yeah, giving me a moment to think isn't a problem, because we're not always going to know answers straight away. Remember, you're going into an interview and you're not going to know exactly what they're going to ask you. So having that time to think isn't a problem to the interviewer. So please don't think it is, because it's not. My last point is spray your best boss babe perfume. I'm telling you now, right? If you have a perfume that you relate to kind of like smelling and feeling successful and feeling nice and great, when you spray this and you're going into the interview, yeah, you're gonna just feel good anyway. Like, for example, let me just say one thing about me right now. I'm doing this video right now, and I'm telling you now, I feel the confidence, I feel the passion through my speech, and I'm actually surprised by myself, because I was kind of like, oh my gosh, filming a video today, I don't know if it's going to even be right. I sprayed my Marc Jacobs Daisy Dot perfume, right? And I'm feeling good right now. I'm feeling confident. I feel like I can speak with confidence to you. Sometimes just spraying a little bit of perfume, spraying a little bit of aftershave if you're a guy, just spraying that is going to make you feel confident. Trust me. Sometimes I think it's a psychological thing as well. Spray yourself, make yourself look nice. Like, you don't, sometimes in interviews, you don't need to come in with suit and tie, but, you know, looking presentable, making sure your hair's nice and everything, that actually helps you to feel confident as well. Trust me, it helps me. I'm sure it helps a lot of other people. So I would definitely say that is something that you should consider. Spray your best perfume. And that's everything, guys. That is literally my tips and advice to being confident in a HR interview. Now, I hope that that's helped you in some way. I hope even just one of those tips made you think, you know what, let me try that. I haven't tried that before. And just let me know if you go to an interview, you've tried some of these tips and you've actually felt more confident when you've been in that interview setting. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next video.